there, but he was always very encouraging to me. One of the things that I admired about Don was his passion, and it was always to do the right thing for the community. It might not have been popular at the time, but it was always the right thing to do, and he did what needed to be done. And I'm so proud that Knox County is taking the opportunity to recognize one of the citizens that really made a difference in our community. One of the neat things about the bridge, and just doing a little bit of research, the bridge was built in 1894. Now, do you realize that was 4 years prior to the Gay Street Bridge? And when Don first wanted to save the bridge because the county wanted to come in, tear it out, and build just a 2-lane standard bridge, there was 8 Keystone bridges in the state of Tennessee. When he finally got the approval to keep the bridge, we were down to only 5. So it's pretty remarkable, because if you think about it, we would never go and tear down the Gay Street Bridge, would we? So I'm really proud that he took the opportunity to do that. As soon as Mayor Burchett has his remarks, we're going to have Thomas Caldwell from the family to say a few things as well. Mayor Burchett?
Thank you, Commissioner Schoonmaker. It's a pleasure being here with everyone. I want to thank y'all. This is really hallowed ground to me. This Veterans Cemetery, veterans. I was thinking about our wreaths that we're going to be doing here pretty soon, but the Ashley Center here is something that I carried the legislation to name it, and it was a fist fight just about to get it in East Tennessee right here, so we're glad it's here. And I want to thank Commissioner Schoonmaker for his remarks and for spearheading the efforts to honor Mr. Caldwell's memory. This time, though, I want to recognize some of our elected officials, but before I do that, I appreciate my buddies up here at engineering that actually do all the work for all these politicians to get the credit. They were clapping for y'all in case you couldn't hear me up there. And Dwight Vandevade, who actually heads that department. Dwight, thank you for what you do. But you can clap. It's all right. All he has to do is have my approval, so he's all right. We have some commissioners here. Commissioner Jeff Owenby's here. Jeff, thank you so much for being here. And of course, Ed Brantley is at-large commissioner, and Bob Thomas also at-large. Bob's our vice chairman of the commission. Thank y'all for being here. And also some other folks that Doug Ottinger did Doug make it down? Okay, he's over here. He works here. He's the one who gave us permission to be here. Of course, our Veterans and Senior Services Director, Captain Buzz Buswell. Buzz, thank you for being here. And Colonel Richard Julian, my HR Director. Richard, thank you. And you've already heard about Dwight, but anyway, Don Caldwell, this is something I'm very pleased that we could do this, and I appreciate Commissioner Schoonmaker bringing this to our attention. He was a great example, the type of community leader that Knox County has had, and it makes it a great place to live. He served his country in the Air Force, then made his home in Knox County. He got to work and started his community. You drive down Pillowseef Parkway in the spring and you'll see Mr. Caldwell's work in the blooming daffodils and the redbuds bursting with color. Maybe this morning you turned down Coward Mill and crossed Beaver Creek on a 1-lane bridge he worked hard to preserve nearly 30 years ago. Mr. Caldwell recognized that his duty extended beyond his own driveway. He was driven to make his community a better place for his neighbors and those who would come after them. To the family here today, I want you to know that he is a blessing not only to Carnes, but to all of Knox County, and he's not forgotten. That's why I'm honored to join Commissioner Schoonmaker here and everyone here today in honoring him by officially naming the 1-lane bridge in his memory. At this time, I'd like for his son to come up and say a few remarks. Come on up here, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody showing up. This is a real big deal to us. And I guess I'm here to give you a little flavor of what it was like to be one of his children. So picture, if you will, a typical father-son outing. Approximately 4 years ago in September of 2011, my father and I were in the middle of the woods in Jefferson County. Hunting or fishing, you might guess. No. Perhaps a day hike or a camping trip? No. Picture instead an ancient abandoned graveyard in the forest full of derelict and vandalized gravestones, the peaceful serenity disrupted by an 82-year-old man and his 50-something son wielding crowbars and shovels, grunting and straining and with great consternation. No, we were not exhuming old bones or unearthing valuable artifacts. My father and I were excavating broken headstones, piecing these cumbersome jigsaw puzzles back together and restoring them to their original vertical positions, utilizing various low-tech methodologies, including assorted hardware store adhesives and found wedges and precarious scaffoldings and bracings made from branches and stones scavenged from the surrounding woods. You might say, restoring an old family cemetery. No, although our ancestor Anthony Caldwell was buried in Brazelton Cemetery in 1832, his body and gravestone were long ago relocated. The restoration of this abandoned cemetery in the woods, complete with the installation of an informational plaque, typifies my father's sense of obligation to the restoration and preservation of the inherent beauty and heritage and fabric of our shared community. From early childhood, he instilled in us children the importance of active participation in the community. We were expected to participate in the annual Carnes Trash-a-thon by picking up roadside trash every spring, which was collected into and sorted into recyclables and non-recyclables at the Carnes Community Center. And after the vandals burned down the old Coward's Mill that used to be down here, my father took an interest in the preservation of this bridge and again engaged our assistance. He encouraged me to devote my Eagle project to the bridge restoration. My project included a plan view drawing identifying the areas where brush must be cleared at the western approach in order to be able to visualize the beautiful stone arch, and the locations of one-lane bridge ahead signs that would notify people at the blind approach. And it even identified places where missing curbstones had been pushed into the water by vandals that would be raised up by the Knox County Maintenance and placed back where they belonged on the side of the bridge. After I and my fellow scouts graduated from our poison ivy and brush removal duties at the bridge, my brother Matthew was inducted by my father to continue bridge maintenance via his Eagle Scout project. And in 1988, when the replacement of the bridge was threatened, as we've already discussed, our father once again fought to preserve the bridge and minimize modifications that would compromise the inherent aesthetic beauty of the structure. And you can see the poster and the pictures that he put together to sort of show to all the various people concerned and let them know the value of this bridge. And over the years, as we already discussed, he was an active member in the Carnes Community Club. He assisted with neighborhood advocacy, annual cleanups, including the creation of the famous Keep Carnes Clean signs that were installed in a number of locations throughout Carnes. The annual Carnes Community Fair, he was always a participant in that. And the annual Beautification Board Community Competition, which I understand Carnes won numerous years in a row. And as a member of the Council of West Knox Homeowners, he assisted with efforts to minimize any negative impact of proposed development on West Knox County neighborhoods. And when Pellissippi Parkway was proposed, our father worked with civic leaders to implement the technology quarter overlay, assuring that the development of the land bordering the parkway would hopefully respect and preserve the scenic beauty of the properties bisected by the parkway. And later, Dad was, as we've discussed, instrumental in the planting of daffodils throughout sections of the parkway in Knox County as well. I'm sure many people saw him out there in the fall planting himself. So for me, this plaque is emblematic of our dad's philosophy of preservation, restoration, and community service. And my brother and my sister and I would like to thank Knox County and all the individuals behind the scenes, especially Betty, who were instrumental in this very special recognition of our father's role in the community. Thank you.
All right, So Thomas and Matthew, actually, if you don't mind, maybe we can get you all up here.